Dotty Scott, the owner of Premium Websites, creates unique web designs, offering personalized solutions beyond cookie cutter sites. Dotty, a best-selling author and speaker, empowers small business owners to reach their goals. Contact Dotty, who goes the extra mile, at premiumwebsites.net or askdotty.com. Wonderful, Dotty. Come on down.
Hello, everybody. I promise I will not bore you with websites today. I am curious, how many people here identify as an introvert? Only a few? That surprises me. So I am a classic introvert, but yet nobody really would think that of me. But if we go back in time, 20-ish years, to when I started my business, I was the person, if you went to a chamber event or a big networking event in your town, I was the person that you saw standing by the wall all by themselves. Can anybody here identify with that? A few. And it was so hard for me to go to these events and break into the niches that seemed to happen. You know, the little cliques where everybody that knew everybody was all standing around talking, and you're standing out here going, what on earth am I even doing here? Like, why am I here? That was me 20 years ago. And I wanted to share a little bit of the things that I've done in my business that has helped me move past that. Because I knew as a business owner, I needed to be able to intelligently talk to people and get to know people and have people know, like, and trust me. We've all heard that. Know, like, and trust. How do you do that when all you want to do is sit in your office, do your work, and talk to nobody? They're kind of at complete opposite ends of the spectrum for how you're going to run a business. And I know that there's people here that have either been here or are here right now that are thinking, that is me. I would much rather fulfill my clients' needs than to go out there and look for my next client. I hate cold calls. Okay, I'm one who doesn't do cold calls. So how do I get people to call me? Because then it's not a cold call. They're calling me. It's a big difference in how you show up from you calling somebody out of the blue versus somebody that has found you on the internet, knows what you do, and needs your service calling you. Huge difference. How do you get there? That is what I'm bringing to the table today. And I wanted to step back again to the beginning. I'm sure all of you know that you can create a video with your smartphone. Well, 20 years ago, these suckers were flip phones. They didn't have the capabilities of a video. And I think the first smartphone came out in 2008. The iPhone, I bought it. It's the last iPhone I ever owned. I won't even go into why. But it didn't do video either. And it was a smartphone, you know, and you couldn't really do anything with it. So again, being an introvert, I would have people call me up and ask questions. And it was pretty much generally the same kinds of questions. So I thought, this is a great opportunity to make a video about this question put it up on my YouTube account. And when someone asks me that, I can just send them a link. As an introvert, why do I want to talk to somebody? Well, I quickly learned that really isn't a very good thought process. And I know all of you here would agree with that. But I made a deal with myself. And you know, it's easy to break deals with yourself, but I promised myself I wouldn't break this deal. And that was, I was going to do one video a week for a year. So for the math challenged people here, that's 52 videos. Well, where am I going to come up with 52 different videos, and how am I going to do this? So I started, every time someone asked me a question, I would write it down. Used to be that I would write it down on little pieces of paper that I keep on my desk. Well, a few years ago, I tried to go paper free. You can see how that happened or how that worked. But I now use Evernote. So I have a running list of questions in Evernote. And I would also batch these videos. So I would basically schedule a Friday. And for those of you that know me now, anyway, you know, I don't work on Fridays generally. So on a Friday, I would clear my calendar, which was super easy to do. And the first half of the day, I would create about 20 videos. The second half of the day, I would break them all into little pieces and have 20 individual videos. And I'm not going to go into how I did that because I'll bore you to death. And I don't do it the same way now anyway. And I basically just put them out once a week. And I didn't even, actually, I'm lying. I didn't even do that. I uploaded them all to YouTube at the same time. And then I linked to one once a week and I sent it out in an email. And I put it out into Facebook in the very beginning. As this kind of grew, I also used LinkedIn and Twitter. And as other programs have come up, I'll use, you know, TikTok and YouTube Shorts and all of these different things we have now. But back then, it was really just Facebook. And I started this with a friend of mine who was also self-employed. And because we couldn't use our smartphones, I had a video camera that I don't even use anymore. And she would video me, I would video her. Here's tip number one. Hers never were released because they were not perfect. And so I had the benefit of putting these videos out, and she got no benefit whatsoever. But we won't go into that. But the key here is it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to get your message out. And the other thing that I realized about 2 or 3 months later, because people started coming up to me in these networking groups, I was continuing to go. In fact, I went to them all the way up until the pandemic and we all moved online, which is many years of torturing myself going to these groups. But it got a lot easier about 2 or 3 months into this adventure of doing a video a week. Now I would go to these groups and someone would come up to me. It's kind of the difference between a cold call and someone calling you. Now they're coming up to me and they're starting a conversation based on whatever video that they had recently watched. And I didn't care what video it was because I did them all. It's all knowledge in my head. I could talk about any of those subjects easily. And now I'm just answering questions and then asking them questions and moving the process forward. This is when my business really took off. It is when I came off the wall and into the crowd. And people started coming to me. That was key for me because for those few of you that raised your hands as being an introvert, you know how hard it is to start a conversation with somebody when you have no idea if they're even interested in whatever it is that you're talking about. Now, I know Dr. Pat, she can start a conversation with anybody on any topic at any time and be 100% comfortable with it. And I admire her for that. It's a skill I will never have. So I'm creating that look by doing these videos. And it has helped me tremendously. A few other things that happened from this, I call it my grand experiment. I started having people come up to me and say things that I really didn't want to hear. Like things like, Dotty, you should straighten your hair. Like, really, why? Dotty, you don't wear your makeup well. I'm like, who cares? Dotty, you're not dressed for the occasion. You know, it's like all of these little nitpicky things. And at first I took them like seriously. I thought, why are these people criticizing me? Just get the information from my video and who cares? But after it happened for about a month, I realized the people that were doing that were not the people I ever wanted to work with. They were just not. They weren't the personalities I wanted. They weren't even in the industries that I worked with. They were just white noise. And when I would go to these groups, other people would come up to me, like this would all happen at the same group. But other people were coming up and they'd say, thank you so much for blah, blah, blah. It really helped me in my business. And I had people that would come up and say things like, Dotty, you're everywhere. How do you do that? And I'm thinking in my mind, I'm not everywhere. I'm sitting in my office, completing my client work in my happy space with nobody around me. But the perception was, because I was sending these through email, because I was putting them on Facebook and whatever else was available at that time, the perception was I was everywhere, constantly marketing, which is not the case. Those are the people that I wanted to work with. And so it didn't, I started letting all of the other criticisms just roll off. Like, I don't care if you think I need to straighten my hair. It's never going to happen. These curls are natural, and I'm not going to do anything that God didn't want me to do. So all of the little criticisms, expect it. They're people that you don't want to work with. All of the people that will come up to you, start a conversation, ask you questions, all of these kinds of things, those are the people you want to focus on. Those are the people you want to follow up with. They're the ones that are going to use your services and or refer somebody they know that needs your services. Those are the ones that are the gems. And these little videos is what started that. I will tell you, my grand experiment lasted for 2 years. I did 52 videos a year for 2 years. I became so busy at that point that I dropped it back to 1 video a month, which was, for our math challenge, 12 videos a year. Big difference. But the result was the same because I had put in all of the effort in the beginning of doing 1 a week. Now I might put out 1 a quarter. I don't even know. And it's not saying that that's a good thing. I'm saying that your marketing efforts when it comes to videos will work for you 24/7 until you take them down. However many years that is. If you go to my original YouTube channel, which is Premium Websites YouTube channel, you will see all of these videos I started with, and you will see a vast difference in what they looked like in the beginning to the ones I'm putting out now. And that's just called a learning curve. And technology, as things advance, you use new things. I do things now that wasn't even available back then. And that's okay. Am I going to take those videos down? 100% no. I did a video in 2008 that was a walkthrough on how to set up a LinkedIn profile. I can tell you today, there is nothing in that video that is true, because LinkedIn has changed everything that they've done since I created that video. However, that is the most performing video on my channel. So I have it linked to a new version. But why take that down? If it's not broken, don't fix it. And if it's working for you, leave it there. It'll be there for another 20 years or until I retire. Just saying. This is what video has done for me. I have another type of video. So these videos are all like 30 to 60 seconds, and they say one thing, like one piece of technology, one software, one whatever, one idea, and that's it. Okay. Another type of video that I highly encourage every single one of you to create. And with technology today, you can do this on Zoom. Okay. You can make an appointment with yourself on Zoom. You're the only one there, and record it. And that is an introduction video. I did another grand experiment at about maybe 2014-ish. And that was that I invited a bunch of my past clients to a party that I threw at a local vineyard. I had each of them give me a video testimonial, and I hired a videographer to come out, and they were there for the whole duration of however long this event was. It was during the summer. It was extremely hot. I was wearing a sundress because it was extremely hot, not like dressed professionally, nothing like that. When it was all said and done, I had a whole slew of video testimonials, which I used. But the videographer said to me, "Hey, Dotty, let's do a quick introduction video for you." And I thought, I wasn't prepared, wasn't dressed well. In fact, in the video, I looked like I was wearing a bathing suit, but it really was a sundress. But I did it anyway. And the next day, after he gave it to me, I put it up on my website. I thought, I hate this video, but the message is great. I just hate everything else about it. Put it up. The very next day, I got a phone call, a random phone call. I call those gifts from Google. Random phone call of a potential new client. And for those of you that know me, I ask every single person how they found me and why they called me. And I write it down in my QuickBooks, so I track it. How they found me, was it Google? Yes. What did you type in? And some will actually tell me because they have just done it, so they remember. So when I asked this person, why did they call me? It was an e-commerce customer, and I'm not an e-commerce expert. I really don't even advertise e-commerce on my website. I'll do some small stuff, but that's it. Her response was, "I watched your introduction video on your website, and I felt like you had a good vibe, and I felt comfortable to call you." And that was like a bomb going off in my lap, because I hated the video, but the message was good. I put it up. I left that video up for probably 5+ years at least before I ever redid it. And I have since redone it. But the point is, it was the very next day I got a new client specifically from that video. If you do not have an introduction video on your website, get one today. When we're done here, leave your Zoom up and record one. You will thank me. I don't know when, but at some point in the future, you're going to get a client specifically from that video. And you want to say, well, what do I say? Here's the key. I don't think it mattered what I actually said in that video. What matters is how you show up, how you talk. If you are somebody who wants to work with people that have corn cobs up their you-know-whats, then that's how you need to show up and talk. If you are somebody who wants to work with a down-to-earth, real person, then that's how you show up. Because it was the vibe more than what I said. So if you're super nervous about doing an introduction video because, oh my gosh, I don't have my elevator speech done. Well, I don't care. Do your clients care if you have your elevator speech done? Probably not. Most of them might not even know what that is. Okay, so just take some deep breaths. And here's the other really cool thing about video. If you screw it up, you can redo it. And no one's gonna know. Just record it again. Another lesson I learned from my grand experiment of 52 videos in a year is that it takes less time to re-record something than it does to edit it. So any of you here are thinking, oh my gosh, I can't do video because I don't know how to edit videos. These are not the kinds of videos you edit. You're going to waste your time. You could spend a half an hour editing a 30-second video, or you could just re-record a 30-second video and spend 30 more seconds. Do the math, which makes more sense. You could re-record that thing probably 10 times and still be ahead. And you only use the one you want. The rest of them go in the garbage. No one ever sees them. So I would like to leave some time for question and answers. And I also want to give you a gift. For those of you that are in WPN here, you know that we're all working on Black Friday deals. Well, I finished mine this morning. So you guys get the first benefit of my Black Friday deal. I will put the link in the chat, but it is a package of videos that I've done in the past year or so. Some of them are webinars. Some of them are my master classes that I run through my Ask Dotty membership. And they're all on something to do with video or repurposing content or creating content so that you can learn from me how you can help grow your business. So I'll open it up to questions and I'll drop that link in the chat. And it's called Gifts from Google because I love getting those random phone calls from Google that turn into clients.
Awesome. Awesome, Dotty. Woo-hoo! Awesome job. Who has questions for Dotty? Come on. She gave us a lot of valuable information about video. You know what? When I'm strategically sitting down with someone, and Heather and Tamara will tell you, I always say, record, 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 right, Heather? Record, go live, do something, because guess what? People out there in the real world want to see real humans. That they want to see the human of you. Like Dotty said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Carl.
Yeah, Dottie, I just wanted to echo what you said. It doesn't have to be complicated, especially if you're doing this for the first time. I remember when I did a signature video for my website, it was quite an investment, but it doesn't, I mean, you can spend that kind of money if you want to spend $4, $5, $6, $10,000 on it. But like you say, it can be as simple as, hey, I want to do something that's organic, that's 60 seconds or 30 seconds. It doesn't have to be it just needs to be. And I think that that's the bigger message is that it needs to just it should be something that you just automatically just think of doing. So it's the real you coming out there and making your face and voice and putting it out there.
Thank you,
Awesome,
Carl.
Carl. Awesome. Who else? Who else has a question for Dotty? So Dotty, I have a question for you. Where do you store your videos? Do you store them on YouTube, or do you have a special place that you store all your videos?
That is a loaded question. I actually store them all in Google Drive, but I have two YouTube channels. I have a Premium Websites channel, which was my original channel, and I have an Ask Dotty channel. And so now I kind of divide them up depending on the topic of the video. So I have those. I put videos out through TikTok. So I've got probably 100 of them on TikTok now. I put them out through LinkedIn. They're not really easy to find there. I put them out through Facebook. And again, you can't really find a good storage, repository of all of them there. But yeah, but to actually answer your real question of where I store them, they're all in my Google Drive.
Okay, perfect. All right. Because I use my YouTube to store them all in, but I don't know if that was the best. So maybe leaving them in Google would be good. Perfect.
It depends on your use. If they are public facing and you want to have people find them, YouTube is fine. If they're for a membership site, like my membership videos are all on Vimeo. I have a pro Vimeo account for that.
Okay, perfect. All right. Any other questions before we go on a break? Carl just said dangerous to store them on YouTube for various reasons. So,
well, it depends on your definition of the word store.
Yeah, I mean, YouTube, much like I have a colleague who just was shut down from Facebook he landed in jail, like some crazy Facebook jail thing that he can't even get out of. Anyways, YouTube at any time can come along and say, or somebody can complain and they, boom, it's all gone. So if you want to keep your videos or have access to them so you can repost, repurpose, whatever, you should probably, like Dottie said, have them somewhere in the cloud or a Google Drive or something like that. And then that way you have them so you're not at the mercy of whatever the social media or directory decides that you want. Just my thoughts on that.